Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Today I've got a product review for you. We're going to be having a look at this Eduard etch, which is designed for the Tamiya Flak 37 88mm gun. And we recently did a first impressions of it. There it is. And it just seemed like the right thing to do to have a look at the photo etch that goes with it. So, if you've not seen the first impressions, go and check that out. It's a classic kit from Tamiya, but because it's quite an old kit, 1972, it does need a little bit of upgrading. So, let's take a look at what Eduard gives us and how much it helps. So, what we get is 3 frets of photo etch, 2 of which are identical. We get a film with so a piece of acetate with some dials on, and our instructions. So let's have a look at the instructions and then we'll have a closer look at the part. What we've got is a single A4 sheet that's been printed in landscape and it's double-sided, so it equates to about 1.5 pages of instructions. And actually we're starting off with the motor bag that's included in the kit. And even though the bike itself looked quite good in the kit, Eduard are choosing to remove the spokes and replace with photo etch, which I have to say that they actually looked all right in the kit as spokes go. They were not bad, but I have no doubt that these will look a little bit more authentic. We're also getting rid of the plastic number plate that is quite thick and chunky, so that'll be an improvement as well. And then we've got a couple of bits that we're removing. The looks like the throttle and what have you is being removed, and then that's being replaced with photo etch. We've got some mudguard straps and some gear levers or control levers of some type, and we do need to add some plastic rod. It's showing there 2 little bits of plastic rod, but it's not actually giving you any dimensions. In more recent releases, they will give you some dimensions of both the tube and the length and what have you, but they're not doing that here, so you need to work that out for yourself. But yeah, we've got some photo etch that needs to be bended to attach by the looks of it. And then that looks like, is it the pedal or something like that? Anyway, there's quite a bit. When you look at this, it doesn't look like you've got that much photo etch really. But yeah, we can see these are all coming pretty much off this, off these parts. So there we've got our controls, some of the control rods and what have you, the number plate. So yeah, a surprising amount of photo etch. There's also some straps that detail up the front forks there, a new rear mudguard which will be thinner and that'll look better. Then we've got brakes to add onto the handlebars. That's a nice little touch. And then removing the moulded on straps on the saddlebags and putting some photo etch in. So that will look pretty cool when it's all been made up, I think. So all of that and those 5 boxes there deal with the motorbike, and then we are on to the main artillery piece. So it looks like we have some little lumps that they want you to remove so that they can add a little bit more detail, which they actually look like hinges, some form of hinges, but these are toolboxes of some description right in the center base plate there. I'm pleased to see that the stakes that are used to pin it to the ground and hold it in place as the percussion of the gun could move it they're being dealt a serious blow from the photo etch, and all that thick plastic is being cut away, so we've got nice perforated fins there to be glued on, along with a mechanism for mounting it onto the gun there if it's stowed away. So if you use the plastic kit, you've got to cut the end off, and it's just a plastic block. So with the photo etch, that's going to really improve the look of that. That continues through with replacing some of the moulded on items with some photo etch, and then here where we've got this box that's got some dials on, we are putting some film over those dials, so you won't see the little plastic, thick chunky plastic dials in there, you'll see the film instead. So probably worth painting the insides of those white, so that comes through the dial film. So you can see that what they've done is they've printed black onto the dial film. You can see my hand through it, but if you put something white behind it, it'll look quite authentic. So yeah, that would be fairly cool. Then we've got more little details that are replacing moulded on parts on some of the gun fittings there. We've got more film, so in total we've got 3 pieces of film to replace dials, which is nice. We've got a photo etch disc there, which is this part here, which replaces quite a chunky bit of plastic moulding, so that will be nice. And then as we flip over, we've got photo etch chain. We're replacing again some of the plastic parts. A35's being replaced by the photo etch, which is this part here, and is a significant improvement on the plastic part, but it's still a little way off what the actual thing looked like, to be honest. Then we've got more parts going around. This is the top of the gun. Now this bit is completely not present in the kit at all. There's not even an attempt at getting this. So this plate is completely omitted in the kit. So that's a nice addition, because you've got something that's quite a prominent feature on the top of the gun. It's this piece here, and it's going there. So yeah. And then you've got some bracketry, hinges and locks for some of the boxes on the bogies. We replace the plastic spool outers with these much more detailed and lovely thin spool outers, so you can retain the plastic center there and just glue that on, and that will look really special. So we've got the plate going on, the armoured protection plate, with some photo etch bracketry for the plastic parts to go into, so that's quite nice. And then there's quite a bit of photo etch part going on the bogies there. We've got bits replacing some of the pedals and steps, and we've got mud flaps that weren't included, and then we've got, well, we're building up some form of I think it's like a wedge that you can put under the wheel to stop it rolling, which again completely omitted in the kit, and some little details there that are really going to help that pop out. So they've had a stab at everything in the kit. It surprised me how much of this is actually on the motorbike, to be honest. But let's have a look at the parts. So I'm looking at one of part 2 frets first. We have 2 of these, and you know the stars of this are these spool outers here, which have got loads of detail on and perforations and things that are completely omitted on the plastic parts. So that's a really nice uplift of the detail. We've got the mud flaps and the chain that's not included, and then we've got these fins for the stakes, which are going to make a big difference to the kit. The rest of it is all fairly tiny details, but again, things like the little steps, they'll make a big difference to the scale effect of it. I'm in two minds as to how big a difference the spokes on the motorbike will make, but because we have two sets, it should look quite nice if you can angle them correctly. Lots of little hinges and stuff which just add a little bit of detail, so yeah, it's quite a nice little uplift. I think it's quite nicely done. It's typical, well thought out, laid out and spaced out fret from Eduard. Should be easy to remove and easy to work with. Part 1, most of this is our gun shield, and what we've got is markings here for the fasteners, but you may want to stamp out your own rivet heads or hex head bolts to put on place there, because there should be some raised fasteners there, which obviously they can't do on the photo etch. And there's some relief photo etch there that's quite nice. Our little metal window there that can be opened for the rangefinder guy to look through. That's going to look so much better, being that much thinner. And then our additional part as well. A little bit of research just to check about fastener positions and make sure this is all correct, but it's a really nice little uplift onto what's already there. And we can see some of these fine motorcycle parts here. And what I didn't see in the instructions, in fact I'll check in a minute, this looks like ends for the shells. So that's a nice touch as well, because the shells have just got flat ends. So yeah, that's, you know, we've got fold lines and etch detail on the back there for the various fittings that are going to go on there. So there's some hinges and fasteners at the top there. So yeah, all very nice. I did miss it. Those are the end caps going onto the shells. So yeah, they are in the instructions. And then we've got our little piece of acetate, which becomes 3 sets of different dials, and they all do look different, which is nice, and that should give us some really nice effects on some of those dials that otherwise you would have probably painted white and then painted the centre bit black, and you wouldn't have got an impression of what they were clearly. One of my hints would be these things tend to go a little bit yellow, and if they're illuminated, it tends to have a yellow tinge. So I would say an off-white with a hint of khaki or sand or something in the white, just to give it a bit of a yellow hue, and that should really pop. So there you have it, the Eduard photo set, detail up set, whatever you want to call it, for the Tamiya Flak 36/37 88mm gun. What are my thoughts? Well, I've done a lot of work with etch over the years, and I like Eduard etch purely because it's easy to work with. There's lots of suppliers of etch out there, and for me, Eduard do the best job of spacing etch out and making it easy for you to work with. There's lots and lots of etch that's companies that produce stuff that's so fine it's almost impossible to do anything with it without damaging it, and it can put people off. You know, if you go in and get some shit photo etch and you're working on, say, White Ensign models 1/700 scale photo etch, you know, you're on a hiding to nothing if you've not used etch before. So for me, this is a nice set for someone who is perhaps new to photo etch, done one or two, or done little bits that I might have come in a kit but I've never bought an upgrade set. This is a nice little set because there's nothing in here that's really tiny, and most of the items are direct replacements for surface detail, which means you're not folding them, you're not bending them, you're just going to tap them with a little bit of glue and put them in place. There is some bending to do, but the bending that is to be done is straightforward, and everything's got bend lines to help you out with that. Probably the most complex item in here is the motorbike spokes, because of what you're going to have to do in terms of modifying the wheels to get those in and to make them fit. But as I said when I did the first impressions, I think a lot of modelers would be quite happy just to leave those as they are. I do question whether you really want to or not, but yeah, it would make them look better. You're going to have to cut the spokes out, which in turn will drop out the centres, and then you're going to have to put them together. Whether you end up with something that you're happy with, I don't know. So personally, I'm not even sure that I would do those, but there you go. That will be the most difficult bit. I think the rest of it is fairly straightforward and will raise the end result of your model quite a lot. There you have it. I hope that was useful. If you've got one of these kits in your stash, or you've been thinking about revisiting the kit like I have been, then you know, you would do a lot worse than to get this basic upgrade set. There are other aftermarket sets out, the most complex being from Voyager models, if you can find one. But that isn't a bad photo etch set. Hope that was useful. You take care and enjoy your modelling, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.